No one ever tells you that silence can steal more from you than noise ever could. At first it feels gentle. A quiet morning, a warm cup of tea, a window you've looked through for years. But then the silence starts to stretch. Hours pass, days, and you realize no one has called. No one has asked how you're doing. No one needs anything from you anymore. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't just wake up one day and feel forgotten. It's slower than that. It's a gradual fading, like the color draining from an old photograph. When you're past 70, silence changes shape. It's no longer restful, it becomes hollow. It doesn't soothe you, it follows you, fills every corner of your home with something you can't quite name. And the worst part? You begin to accept it. I once sat with a man who was 82. He looked me in the eyes and said, "The hardest part isn't that my phone doesn't ring, it's that I stopped expecting it to." That's the theft no one talks about. Not the loss of hearing or walking or even memory, but the loss of being seen, of being heard, of being needed. Because the truth is, humans don't survive on food and medicine alone. We survive on connection. And when that starts to slip away, so does something deeper, the will to keep showing up. You might still be healthy, you might still be capable, but when no one invites you in, when your voice no longer matters in the family conversation, when your name isn't spoken with urgency or joy, you begin to wonder, do I still matter? And that's how it begins. Not with a diagnosis, not with a fall, but with a quiet shrinking of your world. A 2023 study from the National Institute on Aging showed that social isolation in adults over 70 increases the risk of early death by nearly 30% and can accelerate cognitive decline at a rate that mimics early dementia. And yet no one warns you about this. No one tells you that the thing that might hurt you most after 70 is the absence of noise. Not because it's loud, but because it means you're alone in it. But here's something else no one tells you. That silence can be broken. It starts with something small. You write a letter. You make a call. You walk into the kitchen and hum a tune you used to love, just to hear your own voice again. It doesn't matter if someone answers today. What matters is that you remembered. You are still here. You are still allowed to speak. And someone, somewhere, still needs to hear you. The tiny habits that slowly drain your vitality. No one talks about the small things. Not the loud events, not the life-changing diagnoses, not the grand misfortunes, but the small, quiet decisions. The things that seem harmless until they aren't. You see, after 70, the shape of your life begins to shift. Not suddenly, but inch by inch. You wake up and tell yourself you'll stretch tomorrow. You skip breakfast, not because you meant to, but because it just didn't feel necessary. You tell yourself you'll go for a walk later, but the sun is too hot, or it's a little too cold, or you feel a bit tired, or maybe tomorrow. And the days pass. You stop reaching for the top shelf, you stop kneeling to the bottom drawer, you stop dancing to music that once made you feel alive. And without realizing it, you start shrinking. Not in height, but in presence, in energy, in engagement with life itself. I once sat with a retired nurse, strong-willed, once fiercely independent. She told me, "It's not that I gave up. I just got comfortable. And one day I noticed I hadn't left the house in 2 weeks. Not because I couldn't, but because nothing felt worth the effort anymore." And that's how it begins. Not with pain, not with illness, but with convenience. With letting easy win over alive. You eat what's simple, not what's nourishing. You watch TV instead of calling an old friend. You scroll without thinking. You sit without moving. You repeat yesterday again and again. The scary part? It feels normal, even soothing. But it's slowly robbing you of everything that keeps you truly alive. Research from the Journal of Geriatric Medicine in 2022 found that sedentary behavior in adults over 70 is directly linked to increased risk of depression, memory loss, and a 34% higher chance of mobility-related disability within just 3 years. And it all starts with small habits, harmless on the surface, devastating over time. So let me ask you gently, when was the last time you broke a sweat? not from effort, but from joy. When was the last time you learned something that confused you, challenged yourself to remember a poem or a recipe or someone's birthday by heart? You don't need to climb a mountain, but you do need to climb back into your life. Start where you are. Move your fingers slowly in the morning before getting out of bed. Balance on one foot while brushing your teeth. Walk to the end of the block, and tomorrow, just a little farther. And most importantly, pay attention to what you eat, to how you breathe, to how long you sit, to how many times you say, maybe later, to something that used to light you up. The world will not come knocking on your door, asking if you're ready to live again. You have to open that door yourself. You have to say, I'm still here, I'm still strong, and I still have chapters left to write. Because the danger isn't that your body is aging, that's inevitable. The danger is that your spirit is being lulled to sleep by comfort. And if you don't wake it up, life will quietly slip through your fingers, one easy day at a time. If you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered when the light started to fade from your eyes, please stay with me. What's coming next may reveal the most invisible reason why. The fear of asking for help and the loneliness it breeds. It sounds noble, doesn't it? To be self-reliant, to not burden anyone, to figure things out on your own, even when it gets hard. But after 70, that pride, the quiet refusal to ask for help, can become the very thing that isolates you. At first, it starts small. You struggle to open a jar, you fumble with a zipper, you squint at a medical form that used to be simple. But instead of calling someone, you say to yourself, I'll figure it out. I don't want to bother them. And you do, until the next thing happens. Then one day, you slip, or you forget, or you feel dizzy. But you don't tell anyone. You laugh it off. You change the subject. You hide the evidence. Because admitting you need help feels like admitting you're declining. And in a world that moves faster than ever, you've seen how easily people overlook what makes them uncomfortable, including aging. But here's what no one tells you. The fear of being a burden can slowly turn you into a ghost in your own family. Not because they don't love you, not because they wouldn't help, but because you've stopped giving them the chance. I once met a grandfather who hadn't seen his grandchildren in over a year. When I asked why, he smiled sadly and said, "They're busy. I don't want to add to their stress. They'll come when they can." But when I spoke to his daughter later, she said, "We thought he needed space. He never asks for anything. We assumed he preferred being left alone." And so the distance between them grew, not from neglect, but from assumption, from silence, from pride. And in that silence, connection dies. A 2021 study from the University of Michigan found that nearly 60% of adults over 70 avoid asking for help out of fear of appearing weak or being seen as a burden, even when they experience chronic pain, memory issues, or emotional distress. But what if asking for help isn't weakness? What if it's the most human thing you can do? Because asking for help says, I still want to be part of life. I still want to be connected. I trust you enough to let you in. And here's the truth. Your family, your friends, your community, they may not know how to help unless you show them. They may be caught in their own lives. Yes, they may not always be perfect in their response. But the moment you share, you give them a doorway back into your world. You don't need to carry everything alone. You've done that for decades. You've been the strong one, the provider, the caregiver, the fixer. Now let someone else show up for you. It can be as simple as saying, I could use a hand with this. Would you mind walking with me today? I've been feeling a little off. Can we talk? Because the moment you open that door, something shifts. You stop being independent in a lonely way and become interdependent in a loving way. You remind the people in your life that you're still here, still feeling, still growing, still worthy of support, not out of pity, but out of love. So the next time you hesitate to ask for help, remember, it's not about weakness. It's about letting others see you fully, honestly, and without shame. Because in letting others care for you, you give them the gift of mattering too. And if you've ever hidden your struggles just to protect the people you love, what you'll hear next may show you how that silence could be doing more harm than good. The quiet loss of purpose and the pain of feeling unneeded. There's something no one prepares you for after 70. It's not the aches, not the slower pace, not even the doctor visits. It's the moment you realize no one really needs you anymore. Not like they used to. Your children are grown, they make their own choices now. They rarely ask for your advice, not because they don't respect you, but because they've built their own lives. At first, you're proud. You did your job well. You raised them to stand on their own. But over time, the pride begins to sting. You used to be the one everyone turned to. You were the one with the answers, the plans, the meals, the comfort. Now, your phone rings less. You sit through family gatherings smiling, but mostly listening. You watch them discuss things you once helped shape and feel the space between you growing wider. I once worked with a woman who had been the anchor of her family. After her husband passed, she moved in with her daughter. She told me, "They love me. I know they do, but I feel like a piece of old furniture in the corner, respected but no longer used." That sentence never left me, because purpose is oxygen for the soul. And when you feel unneeded, you don't just feel sad, you feel invisible. You begin to question, what am I still here for? What role do I play now? It's one of the most painful, silent thieves of later life. This slow erasure of identity. According to a 2022 report from the Stanford Center on Longevity, older adults who feel a strong sense of purpose have a 24% lower risk of physical decline and a 43% lower risk of cognitive impairment, regardless of their health status. In other words, purpose protects you, purpose heals, purpose saves, and yet no one tells you how to find it again, once your roles as worker, parent, provider, or spouse have changed. But here's what I've learned from years of listening to the elders who refuse to fade. You are still needed, just not in the same way as before. You are needed not for your hands, but for your heart. Not for your answers, but for your stories. Not for your productivity, but for your presence. A grandchild needs your laughter. A neighbor needs your kindness. A stranger may need your wisdom, passed down in a simple, quiet sentence they'll never forget. You don't have to run a charity. You don't have to babysit every weekend, but you can wake up each day and say, "Today I will matter to someone. Today I will offer something real." Maybe it's a call. Maybe it's a smile to the cashier who looks exhausted. Maybe it's a handwritten memory you leave behind for someone you love. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be felt. And when you begin to feel needed again, not by the world, but by life itself, the weight in your chest lifts, the fog begins to clear, and your steps regain a rhythm that says, "I still belong." Because you do. If you've ever whispered to yourself, "I don't know what I'm here for anymore," please stay with me. What comes next may reignite something inside you that you thought was long gone. The death of curiosity and how it slowly dims your spirit. There's a moment, often unnoticed, when something quietly slips away after 70. It's not your memory, not your energy, not your strength. It's your curiosity. The spark that once lit up your eyes when you learned something new, the hunger to explore, to ask, to try, to dream. Somewhere between the doctor visits, the quiet afternoons, and the routines carved deep into the day, you stop wondering. You stop reaching. You tell yourself things like, "That's for the younger generation. It's too late to learn that now. Why bother?" And that's how the light begins to fade, not from your body, but from your soul. I remember speaking with a man named Carl, age 79. He used to travel the world, collect books, try a new recipe every week. Then his wife passed. He told me, "I didn't just lose her. I lost the part of me that wanted things." That sentence broke me, because when you lose your curiosity, You stop discovering not just the world, but yourself. You stop evolving. You become a snapshot of who you were, not a living, breathing, growing soul. And yet, most people think this is normal. They think curiosity is something that fades with age, like muscle or speed. But it doesn't have to. In fact, curiosity is one of the strongest predictors of emotional vitality in later life, according to a 2023 study from the Journal of Aging and Mental Health. Seniors who actively pursued new interests, even small ones, were 31% more likely to report high life satisfaction, strong memory retention, and lower levels of depression. So what happened? We stopped inviting wonder into our days. We stopped asking questions, stopped trying things we weren't good at, stopped allowing ourselves to be beginners again. But you are never too old to be amazed. You are never too old to pick up a paintbrush for the first time, to learn the name of a bird that sings outside your window, to try a new dish or visit a new place, even if it's just in your mind. Curiosity is not a luxury, it's medicine. It revives you. It reconnects you to the child within, the one who never stopped asking why. And when you wake up each day with even one small question in your heart, you give life permission to surprise you again. Try something different today. Watch a documentary on a topic you've never thought about. Listen to music from another country. Call someone and ask about their earliest memory. Go outside and name 3 things you've never really noticed before. Because the moment you become curious again, your world opens back up. You stop existing and start living. No one warns you that the death of curiosity is the quietest kind of death. It doesn't take your body. It takes your sense of possibility, but now you know. And now you can choose differently. So, if you felt something slowly slipping away after 70, your voice, your strength, your meaning, your worth, your wonder, let this be your gentle reminder. You are not fading. You are still here. And the story of your life still matters, perhaps now more than ever. Speak, move, ask for help, offer yourself, and stay curious. Because life isn't done with you. Not yet. Not even close. If this video spoke to something deep inside you, a quiet pain, an unspoken thought, a memory that still lingers, please don't keep it to yourself. Leave us a comment. Even just one sentence, "This is how I've been feeling too." Your voice may be the comfort someone else needs tonight. And if you know someone, your sister, your father, a friend, who's slowly slipping into silence, into stillness, share this video with them. Let's not let these small things quietly steal our lives anymore. Let's remind each other, we still matter. We still belong. And there is still so much more life to live. Subscribe to Golden Pathways for more gentle conversations like this. Stories that see you, honor you, and walk beside you. Because aging may be quiet, but here you will never feel unseen.